We are back with another video for you guys. In this video, we're going to be playing Pokemon Y, Steel types only, hardcore Nuzlocke rules. If you don't know the rules to a Nuzlocke, I'm going to put them on the screen right now. I'm not going to keep you guys waiting, so without further ado, here's my attempt at a Pokemon Y, hardcore Nuzlocke, Steel types only. Before we start this journey, let's talk about Steel types. Steel types are actually a really good batch of Pokemon. Most of them have pretty high stats all around the board, and there's actually a fair bit of Steel types in Pokemon Y. There's 9 Steel types to be exact, but all of them have some pretty glaring weaknesses. For example, almost every single one of my Pokemon is weak to fire and or ground. This doesn't really seem like much of an issue until you look at the Elite Four and how many ground type Pokemon are in this game. One more thing to make this run just a little bit harder, I'm deciding to add the rule of no Mega Evolution, meaning in this run I will not be able to use Mega Lucario, one of the best Pokemon in the game. This of course should make my run a hell of a lot harder, especially considering the Mega Evolutions in this game are absolutely broken. With all that being said, I start my journey as Zango and meet Serena and Shauna outside of my house. They teach me the basics and give me a starter that I'm not going to use. I make my way to Route 22 where I can actually catch my first usable Pokemon, Riolu. I catch the Riolu pretty swiftly and name him Titanium. Since Riolu isn't actually a Steel type yet, I have to grind to get him there. This grind is way different than any I've ever done before because I have to run for 30 minutes straight back and forth in a straight line just to get him to enough friendship to evolve on his first battle. Like I said, it takes me a while, but I get it done and I get my Steel type on Lucario, meaning I can challenge the first gym. I walk into this gym battle a little bit short-handed. She leads the battle with Surskit as I lead with Titanium. I didn't heal before starting this battle because I was very confident I could win it, and I'm at 30 HP and a little bit underleveled. Thankfully, Surskit really isn't that strong of a Pokemon, and I bring him down to a third before he can even do any damage really. She then heals the Surskit, wasting the potion as I go for a few more quick attacks, ending the Surskit. Next up is Vivillon, a fully evolved Pokemon, and I'm kinda scared. She may not be dealing a lot of damage, but honestly neither do I, as every hit I hit for only about an 1/8 with quick attack. I go for about 4 quick attacks before I get hit with an infestation, bringing me down every single turn. I'm getting hit for a lot of damage on every single turn, so I go for a quick attack, bringing her down to the red, and since she wastes her potion, this doesn't really matter as now I can just one-shot with another quick attack, winning me my first gym badge of this run. After that gym battle, I walk past Dexio and Cena and make my way into Lumio City. I then proceed and make my way into the professor's lab where he gives me a trash Pokemon. We get out of there as soon as possible, and after that I make my way onto Route 5. I move on to Route 5 and this Lucario checks me out in an awfully weird manner. I make my way past those weirdos and talk to Tierno and Trevor. Tierno challenges me to a battle, and I beat him down pretty swiftly. After this and a little bit more story, I make my way onto Route 6 where I can catch my next Pokemon, Honedge. Honedge evolves into Aegislash, and Aegislash can definitely give me the firepower I need to defeat the rest of this run. After I get him, I pay way too much money to get into this palace, help out the owner, and he doesn't even give me my money back. Me and Shauna watch some fireworks as I get the team for Protect, and I make my way to wake up the Snorlax. The rest of the stuff that goes on is kinda trivial, so I'm just gonna focus on the main important points. Me and Serena challenge Tierno and Trevor to a battle, and we destroy them. After that double battle, we make our way to Ambrit Town. When we get to the city, we immediately have to do some chores in Glittering Cave. Once I'm there, we get our first encounters with Team Flare, and I mop the floor with them. After I'm finished up there, I completely forget about my Mawile encounter in Glittering Cave, and to be honest with you, this is gonna happen a lot in the run. In this run, Pokemon just kept slipping my mind, and I kept forgetting to catch them where I was supposed to, making this run a lot harder than it was supposed to be. After missing that encounter, I make it to Silage City and get ready to challenge the second gym. This battle actually ends up being extremely easy. I lead the battle with Titanium as he leads with Armora. Even though I'm 2 levels below her, I still one-shot with a critical hit, 4 times super effective power-up punch. He then sends out Tyrant, who I hit really hard with a power-up punch, bringing him to a third as he hits me with a Rock Tomb, doing almost no damage. This battle ends up being a closed case from here as I finish him off with another power-up punch, winning me my second gym badge of this run. After this gym battle, I realized that I didn't get my Mawile, so I make my way to go get one. Sadly, without Mega Evolution, Mawile is kinda useless. Her stats are mediocre at best, and she can't really do much to any gyms. The only thing I could even think about using her for is the up-and-coming fighting gym, but even that is questionable since I already have a Honedge. Regardless, I catch the Mawile and name it Cannonball and make my way to the next town. Before the next town though, I deal with Team Flare and forget about another encounter in the grass on Route 10. After that, I make my way into Geosenge Town. This seems like a really unimportant town in the game, and I'm sure nothing bad will happen here later on. I battle Corinna and her weird Lucarios before the next route, beat them, and make my way into Reflection Cave. I get through this cave relatively scot-free, and after this, I make my way into Lumio City. In this city is where I'm going to get my first real rival battle with Serena. She leads the battle with Meowstic as I lead with Stainless. Her Meowstic goes down to 3 Shadow Sneaks as I get to 26 HP. She then throws out her next Pokemon Absol, so I send out Cannonball to take some hits and hopefully do a lot of damage with Fairy Wind. I then remember that Mawile's special attack is horrendous, so I go for a few Vice Grips instead. I end up bringing him down all the way to about a third as he hits me with a critical hit slash, killing Cannonball in the process. I send out Titanium next, and I go for a power-up punch, one-shotting the Absol. Her final Pokemon Frogadier goes down to 2 Shadow Claws, winning me my rival battle. Sadly, with that final kill, I bring Titanium over the level cap. This puts me in a really poor position, meaning that I have to take out the entire next gym with only Stainless. With all that being said, it's time to challenge Corinna again, but this time for the 3rd gym badge. Before I looked at Corinna's team composition, this battle looked impossible. But in all reality, this battle was the easiest of the runs so far. She leads the battle with Menfu as I lead with Stainless. Menfu can legitimately not hit me with a single attacking move, so I set up 3 consecutive sword stances and sweep the entire team. The only problem is at the end of the battle with her Hawlucha, but she doesn't even go for an attacking move, so it kinda just gives me the free win. With that all being said, that's my 3rd gym badge of this run. After this, I remember that there's an encounter I forgot about in Reflection Cave. This encounter ends up being Ferroseed, and I catch him and name him Tank. I head to the Tower of Mastery to battle Corinna once more. She apparently has no idea when to call it quits because I defeat her again with her own Pokemon this time. I do end up Mega Evolving Lucario in this battle, but I don't really count it cheating seeing as this Lucario isn't even on my team. After the battle, her Lucario basically begs me to join my team, so I do the only proper thing and leave it on the tower and strand it. After this battle, I talk to Diantha and the Professor, and I make my way to the next city. Before the next gym, however, I have a rival battle. I beat Serena with no issues other than the fact that I bring Titanium over the level cap again. This really does look like it's gonna have to be another solo battle with Stainless because Tank really can't do much at this level. Regardless, it's time and I challenge the 4th gym. I lead the battle with Stainless as he leads with Jumpluff. I immediately go for a Sword Stance as he goes for a Leech Seed. I need to kill this Jumpluff and fast as my health is going to be going down every single turn now. Jumpluff hits me with an Acrobatics, not doing very much, but I hit with an Aerial Ace, bringing him to 1 HP. This could be catastrophic and has real potential to end my run right here. Since I know Jumpluff is going to heal on the next turn, I decide to go for another Sword Stance and I take out the Jumpluff on the next turn. I'm left with 36 HP after the Jumpluff, so he brings out Go-Go. At this point, it really should be game as he has Bulldoze and he can one-shot Stainless. I get ready to reset my run, and for some reason he goes for a Grass Knot, not a Bulldoze, so I get a one-shot off with Aerial Ace. I was 100% ready to reset there, but thankfully I don't have to, and he brings in Weeping Bell in the next turn, and I take it out with a single Aerial Ace, winning me my 4th gym badge of this run. After this gym battle, I have to deal with Team Flare again, and after I deal with them, I am able to turn on the power for Lumio City. On my way to Lumio City, I do a ton of story, but other than that, there's not really anything to do here, so all I do is challenge the 5th gym. This is the first time in a while that I don't overlevel Titanium, so I decide to lead the battle with him as he leads with Emolga. Immediately I go for a Rock Tomb, bringing the Emolga down to a 3rd as he goes for a Volt Switch, switching out the Emolga in the process. He then sends in Magneton, and I'm able to get through it sturdy with a single Bone Rush. Next up is Heliolisk, who I hit really hard with a Bone Rush, bringing him down to half as he hits me extremely hard with a Thunderbolt, bringing me down to 12 HP. After that, I just get off one more Bone Rush, and it kills the Heliolisk. His final Pokemon is Emolga, who I take out with a single Rock Tomb, winning me my 5th gym badge of this run. After this gym battle, I meet Lysander and the professor in the cafe, and after that, I make my way to Route 14 and challenge Serena to a rival battle. Serena gets smoked as usual, and her team really shouldn't be posing much of a threat to mine, especially with all my steel types. While I'm on Route 14, we make our way to the scary house, and the only real scary thing about this house is the fact that the devs kept in this shaking camera scene for so long. I walk out of there leaving no tip and make my way to the next city of this run. Once in Laver City, the only thing to do is challenge the fairy type gym. I decide to lead the battle with Tank as she leads with Mawile. She goes for a crunch, hitting me for a little, but I decide to go for Ingrain, bringing my health basically back to full. She hits me again, going for another crunch as I decide to go for a Toxic, forgetting she's a steel type. It's fine though, as we keep trading attacks and I keep healing most of the damage with my Ingrain. After only 3 Power Whips, Mawile goes down, and that leads to her next Pokemon, Mr. Mime. I actually am able to get a Toxic off on this one, so I use it as he hits me for literally no damage, going for a Reflect. I then use Protect on the next turn just to get some more HP, and then I decide to go for a Power Whip, almost one-shotting him. She ends up healing on the next turn, and I go for 2 more Power Whips, finishing off Mr. Mime, leading into her final Pokemon, Sylveon. Again with Sylveon, I decide to set up with Toxic. I then decide to spam Protect and Power Whip, but I get hit by her ability Cute Charm. This actually doesn't prove to be much of an issue, as on the next turn she goes out to a Toxic, so I win my 6th gym badge of this run. I've then got to deal with Team Flare again, but this time in the Pokeball Factory. Before I deal with them though, I decide to go get my encounter all the way back on Route 10, and this encounter ends up being a Nose Pass. He really wouldn't have made the run too much easier if I caught him earlier, especially considering I couldn't evolve him until during the 4th gym. I decide to name him Magnet, and I actually get ready to fight Team Flare. On Route 15, 16, and the Lost Hotel, I can actually catch 3 different Pokemon. Thankfully, I forget to catch every single one of those, making this next gym, which is a Psychic type gym, way harder than it needed to be. Regardless, after missing those 3 encounters, I make my way into the next city and Frost Cavern. I then deal with Team Flare again for the millionth time in this run, and after that, I make my way through Route 17 into Anistar City. While on my way to the gym, I get jumped by Serena and am forced to do a rival battle. This battle actually is a little bit scary because now she has a Flareon on her team, but I end up taking it out really quickly with a Bone Rush, and that's all for Serena. After this battle, there's nothing left standing between me and the 7th gym of this run. I decide to challenge Olympia and lead the battle with Tank. She leads with Sigilif, and immediately I go for an Ingrain as he goes for a Reflect. I go for a Toxic, forgetting about Sigilif's ability, and I realize very soon into the battle that I can't just Toxic stall this thing. This is a massive mistake on my part, and this could end up getting Tank killed. Since I equipped a Tank with Shadow Claw, I'm able to use that to get some damage off, and I go for a few Protects just to heal up. He's doing a lot more damage than I can possibly out-heal, so I'm getting really scared. I used Ingrain earlier in this battle, so I can't even switch out with Tank even if I wanted to. This leaves me in a really rough position, as now I can only just use Shadow Claws to try and finish off the Sigilif. I end up finishing him off with a couple more Shadow Claws, leading into her next Pokemon, Meowstic. She goes for a Fake Out on the first turn, not really hitting me for much damage, and I do more with my ability, Iron Barbs. I then am able to get back up to 60 health as she goes for a Calm Mind and I go for a Shadow Claw. It actually does more than half, and on the next turn she goes for a Shadow Ball, hitting me for almost all of my health, bringing me to 12 HP as I finish her off with a Shadow Claw. She sends out Slowking next, and sadly this means I'm really limited in this battle. I still can't switch out due to my Ingrain, and I'm forced to stay in with 12 HP. I get super lucky and go for a Shadow Claw, hitting him for a critical hit as he hits me with a Yawn. Even more shocking, I'm faster than Slowking, so I just go for another Shadow Claw, winning me my 7th gym badge of this run. I then have to deal with a ton of Team Flare shenanigans, and since a lot of it is unimportant, I'm only going to cover the important events and battles. The first thing that happens right when I get into their hideout is I battle Lysander for the first time. He sends out Menfu first, who I kill with 2 of his own high jump kicks. After that is Gyarados, and he goes down to Tank. His next Pokemon, Pyroar, is extremely scary, but thankfully I have Magnet to take some hits and finish off his Pyroar. After that, I just finish off Murkrow, and that's our first battle with Lysander. After this, I decide to press the blue button and basically almost destroy the world. I then have to fix my mistake in Geosenge Town, and while I'm here, I battle Lysander again. This battle thankfully goes about the same as the other one, and I get through it with relatively no issues. I then complete one of the best Pokemon scenes ever, and after that, I have my final battle with Lysander. Without Mega Evolution, this fight is extremely hard. Yveltal ends up getting thrown to the front of my party, so I decide to keep throwing Pokeballs at his Manchifu, so I get killed. After Yveltal dies, I switch into Titanium and go for an Aura Sphere. Thankfully, it one-shots as he brings out his next Pokemon, Pyroar. Thankfully, Titanium is just faster than Pyroar, so I get off an Aura Sphere and one-shot him in the process. Next up is his Honchkrow, and before I decide to attack him, I decide to set up with Swords Dance as he hits me, bringing me to almost half health. I decide to go for another one as he hits me, bringing me to 58 HP with an Aerial Ace. I'm then able to one-shot the Honchkrow with a close combat, and next out is his final Pokemon, Mega Gyarados. Truthfully, it would have been better if he didn't Mega Evolve, because when he did, he made himself 2 times super effective to fighting type moves, so I'm able to just get off a single close combat, winning me my final battle against Team Flare and Lysander. After that, I do a tiny bit more story, and remember that I can catch a Pawniard. This Pawniard is in a previous route, and I catch him and name him Ironside. I then move on to Route 16, where I'm able to catch another Pokemon, this time being Klefki. I catch him with relatively no issues, then I move on to the Lost Hotel and I catch a Magneton. After I catch him, I immediately evolve him into Magnezone and I end up naming him Magnesium. After Route 19, I then battle the Professor and beat him with no real issues. After that, I then get my Duskstone so I can evolve Stainless into an Aegislash. With that being said, I then have 3 rival battles consecutively, and with the first one, I take it out with a Swords Dance sweep from Stainless. My second rival, Tierno, actually has a way better team than Shauna, and he has a Talonflame, and since he leads with it, immediately I'm forced to switch into Magnet. Once I switch into him though, it's basically just a switch game, so I end up beating Tierno with no deaths. After that, I get my Pokemon healed up and deal with Trevor. His team really isn't that difficult, so after I beat them for the final time, I make my way into Snowbell City. Once here, I find the gym leader in the Pokemon village and get ready to challenge the 8th and final gym of this run. I decide to lead the battle with Titanium as he leads with Abomasnow. Immediately I go for an Aura Sphere, which one-shots the Abomasnow in the process. Next up is Cryogonal, and I hit him really hard with an Aura Sphere, bringing him to the red as he hits me with a Confuse Ray. I make a ballsy move, and on the next turn, rather than switching, I go for an Aura Sphere, hitting the Cryogonal, but since he healed on the same turn, I just bring him to the red again. He heals again, but on this turn, Titanium snaps out of confusion, so I go for another Aura Sphere, bringing him to the yellow. After this, I use one more Aura Sphere to take out the Cryogonal. He then sends out his final Pokemon, Avalugg. Thankfully, this isn't actually that bad, considering Avalugg's special defense is basically nothing. So, I'm able to take it out with a single Aura Sphere, winning me my 8th and final gym badge of this run. After this final gym battle, the only thing left to do in this game is go to Victory Road and challenge the Elite Four. While I'm going through Victory Road, I have my final rival battle of this run with Serena. She leads the battle with Meowstic as I lead with Stainless. Stainless absolutely destroys her with his Shadow Claw, leading to her next Pokemon, Flareon. I decide to switch into Magnet to go for 2 Earth Powers, killing the Flareon. She then brings in her next Pokemon, Greninja. For her Greninja, I decide to switch into Magnesium and go for a Thunderbolt, one-shotting the Greninja. After the Greninja, she decides to bring in Absol, and when she does, I switch into Titanium and I go for a single close combat, one-shotting him in the process. She then sends in her final Pokemon, Altaria, who gets 2-shotted by a Dragon Pulse, winning me my final rival battle of this run. After that final battle, I decide to catch my final Pokemon of the run, Skarmory, and name him Tungsten. This right here is the final thing I do before I make it into the Pokemon League. Before I continue this video, I just want to say thank you to everybody who's made it this far in the video. It takes me a ton of time to make these videos and edit them, so if you could please subscribe, that would be greatly appreciated. Thanks again to everybody who watched up until this point, and with that all being said, I challenge the Elite Four in Pokemon Y using hardcore Nuzlocke rules and only Steel types. I decide to start my first Elite Four battle in the Flood Chamber. I lead the battle with Magnesium as he leads with Gliscor. Immediately I go for a Thunderbolt, and since I outspeed, I one-shot him in the process. He then brings out his next Pokemon, Gyarados. Thankfully, my Magneton has sturdy, so even if I possibly get one-shotted on this turn, I'm able to survive and go for a Thunderbolt. So that's exactly what I do, one-shotting the Gyarados in the process as he brings me to 1 HP. He then sends out his Barbarnacle next, and I decide to switch into Stainless. He goes for a Cross Chop, and since I'm a Ghost type, I don't get hit on the switch in. On the next turn, I decide to go for a Sacred Sword, bringing him in the yellow as he hits me with a Razor Shell, and I heal up back to about 120. I then go for one more Sacred Sword and finish him off. He then brings in his final Pokemon, Starmie. His Starmie can't do anything to tank, so I decide to switch him in and I kill him with a single Power Whip, winning me my first Elite Four battle. Next up on the list is the Ironworks Chamber. I lead the battle with Titanium as he leads with Klefki. I go for 2 consecutive Sword Stances as he goes for a Spikes and a Torment. I then one-shot the Klefki with an Earthquake, leading to his next Pokemon, Probopass. I decide to hit the Probopass with a Shadow Claw, bringing him down to half as he hits me extremely hard with an Earth Power. On the next turn, I just go for an Earthquake and finish off the Probopass, leading to his next Pokemon, Aegislash. Aegislash goes for a King Shield as I try and hit him with a Shadow Claw, and he lowers my attack by 2 stages. This doesn't really matter though, as I can just one-shot him with an Earthquake, which I do, so this leads to his final Pokemon, Scizor. I decide to go for a Shadow Claw in the first turn, and I bring him down to lower than half, but he hits me super hard with an Iron Head, bringing me to 32 HP. Since Scizor has Bullet Punch, I decide to play it safe and switch into Stainless. Stainless takes the hit, and I go for a Sacred Sword in the next turn, winning me my second Elite Four battle. Next up, I decide to challenge the Dragon Mark Chamber. I decide to lead the battle with Titanium as she leads with Dialga. I start the battle off by going for a Calm Mind as she goes for a Surf. I was hoping I could kill with a Dragon Pulse, but I don't, bringing her to 1 HP as she hits me for not too much damage with a Surf. On the turn I know she's going to heal, I decide to go for another Calm Mind, and on the next turn I go for a Dragon Pulse, finishing off her Pokemon. She then sends out her level 65 Noivern with Flamethrower. Before the battle, I equipped a Titanium with the Oka Berry, having the damage of super effective moves, so I actually don't get killed by the Flamethrower, and I'm able to one-shot with a Dragon Pulse. Her next 2 Pokemon are a complete joke, and I one-shot them both, winning me my 3rd Elite Four battle. If you haven't noticed it yet, I've been challenging the Elite Four in a very specific way. I've been avoiding the Fire-type Elite Four member purely because my Lucario cannot outspeed Pyroar and Talonflame. I can't take a hit from each of those Pokemon, so I'm forced to just stall and level up Lucario to hopefully outspeed. With that all being said, this is it, and I challenge the final Elite Four member of this run. She leads the battle with Pyroar as I lead with Titanium. I then go for an Earthquake, hoping to outspeed, and thankfully I do. Sadly, I leave her on a Sliver. Thankfully, she doesn't attack me, and she goes for a Noble Roar, and on the following 2 turns, I'm able to take her out with 2 Earthquakes, leading into her next Pokemon, Talonflame. Talonflame decides not to go for a Flare Blitz and hits me extremely hard with Brave Bird, but thankfully, it's not enough to kill, as I'm able to hit him with a Rock Slide, one-shotting him in the process. Torkoal comes out next, and since Lucario's already kinda low, I'm forced to switch. I decide to switch into Magnet, fully knowing that he's gonna have to die in order for me to win this battle. I go for an Earth Power, but it's not enough to kill the Torkoal, as he takes me out with an Earthquake. Magnet's sacrifice was definitely much needed, as on the next turn I switch back into Titanium, and I get off an Earthquake, finishing off the Torkoal. Chandelure comes out last, and I just one-shot it with a single Earthquake, winning me my final Elite Four battle. With all that finished up, I walk into Radiant Chamber and attempt to beat the final battle of this run. Before the battle starts, I give Stainless a Cassid Berry, and I start my battle with Pokemon X and Y's champion, Diantha. I decide to lead the battle with Stainless, as she leads with Hawlucha. Hawlucha only knows one move that can do damage to me, and it's 4 times not very effective, so I'm able to set up 3 consecutive Sword Stances without him being able to stop me. I then go for a single Shadow Claw, one-shotting the Hawlucha in the process. She then brings out Goodra, and since she doesn't outspeed me, I just go for her Sacred Sword and one-shot her as well. I then proceed to one-shot her next Pokemon, Tyrantrum, and Gourgeist. Again, I'm able to one-shot her Aurorus, and she brings out her final Pokemon, Gardevoir. I'm 110% I can one-shot Gardevoir even in her Mega form, but the real question is can she one-shot me before I do the same? Gardevoir outspeeds me by a long shot, and her special attack stat is through the roof. With that all being said, I have to hope my preparations were enough. As she Mega Evolves, I eat my Cassid Berry, and she hits me with a Shadow Ball, bringing me to 40 HP as I'm able to one-shot with an Iron Head, winning me my final battle of this run. Oh my gosh, let's go! That's the game, baby! Let's go! This run took me so long. Oh my gosh, dude. What a game, man. And with that, that's the end of this run. This run was actually a lot more difficult than I thought it was going to be, considering Steel types are actually really good. I had a ton of close calls in this run, and most of them were because my Pokemon were so incredibly slow. Regardless of all of that, I actually had a really fun time playing this run, and I would definitely do a similar run in the future. With that all being said, that's the end of the video, and if you made it this far, then please consider subscribing. I'm trying to make it to 1,000 by the end of the year, and it would be greatly appreciated. And with the entire game finished, that was my attempt at a Pokemon Y Hardcore Nuzlocke with Steel types only.